It is Three Guys time. Hi, everybody. Welcome in, and away we go. It's episode number 699. We've got a recap of West Virginia and Utah. We have to. And we have a preview of West Virginia and TCU. Tony's here. Senator's here. Hoppy's here. And, man, was Hoppy a presence at last night's game? We'll get into it and more coming up.
Didn't help.
Did not help. Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by Go-Mart. Download the app. Immediately begin saving on food and fuel. They've got that Vinyl Value Day special on Coke coming up on the 26th. We'll talk about that. Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. And no more kidding. It really does look like spring's coming.
Oh, yeah.
We had bright, early light today. Awesome. The only Honda Marine Premium dealership, Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way with a Tudor's Biscuit. Sunrise special winding up the end of this month. We'll talk about that. Comex Business System, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, efficient for 25 years. By Jan Dill's attorneys at law, they won't take no for an answer. They just don't. And Spreads on Stats coming up. Yeah, we have to do those. Brought to us by Connolly CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. All right, we're here, and extremely disappointing result last night inside Hope Coliseum. Final score of 61-56. Utah gets off to a great start, and immediately, I don't know about you, but everything kind of gets tense for me. I thought, wait a second, this is the Arizona State game from last year where West Virginia had no business to lose and they don't get it done. And you gave life to a Utah team that you could break it down, and they were like a whisker away from beating Cincinnati. And to be quite honest, in retrospect, I wish they would have beaten Cincinnati. But all that did was convince them that they're really close. Mm-hmm. And they came in and they were ready to go. And quite simply, West Virginia at the start of the game wasn't, and it cost them.
That was familiar. I thought that yesterday was Ash Wednesday. I thought West Virginia had given up scoring for Lent.
Oof. Well, there's a shot.
That was bad.
It was.
9-0 to start 2.5 minutes into the game. I think right there, I mean, listen, you had a valiant effort to battle back in there. I'm kind of surprised they got it down there to a 2-point game with a chance, a good look at 3 to take the lead there. But you started, you're exactly right, Tony. That was the one game you did not need to start that way. Crowd was down, needed to bring your own energy, and to start out 9-0, that's a tough situation to battle back from in a game when you really needed to get out of the gates quickly.
So on Monday's show, we talked about, hey, just say that there is a chance to put yourself into the discussion as far as NCAA tournament goes and bubble and things like that. Well, now you have played 13 of your 18 games. You've got 5 left. 3 of those are on the road. TCU Saturday, Oklahoma State next Tuesday, and then the following week, West Virginia goes to Kansas State. So you got 3 on the road. And you've got 2 here, BYU, that, believe it or not, you're currently tied with in the league standings. They, like West Virginia, like, just take everything out of perspective for a second. What if I would have told you at the start of the season that BYU through 13 games was going to be 7-6? You'd go like, wait a second. DeBonsa, Saunders, and I know Saunders is out, but
Rob Wright,
you're going like, no, that's not going to happen.
I bet their accountant didn't think they would be 7-6 either when they're stroking the checks. They were.
Yeah. So BYU is 19-7. West Virginia is 16-10, but the Mountaineers and the Cougars are tied for 6th place. UCF is now tied for 6th place. But the way you work breakers and things like that, actually West Virginia's on the top of the 6. You got TCU Saturday, they're 6-7. You've got the Cowboys of Oak State, and they are 4-9 right now, 16-2, but they've been pretty good at home. They're 13-4. So, okay, best case scenario, what could West Virginia do? I mean, best case scenario, I mean, you could finish with 12, right? You got 7. Chances are that doesn't happen. But you know what? You can realistically once you get yourself settled once again, you can talk 500. You can talk a game over 500. It's all there for the taking, and it's all possible.
Now I think you have to set the tournament side talk aside for a second here. Now you've got to go steal one back. So you probably stole one on the road at UCF. They walked out of there thinking, are you kidding me? We just lost a home game here. You just did that to a Utah team last night ranked in the hundreds on Ken Palm. And, yeah, they were getting closer. Yes, they have offensive talent. We'll go through this. Some of these numbers make you scratch your head that you didn't find a way to get the win. Now you got to turn around and get one back, whether that's BYU when you come home. More importantly, up next, can you go into Fort Worth, been a difficult place to play, against a Horned Frog team that does this as well? And we'll get into TCU here in a minute. Can you go in and steal one back? Can you walk out with another road victory? That's next.
Boy, but agreed. It's just that, and you don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, but the inability to have, not the inability, but these long droughts, that's no longer now a prisoner of the moment. That's a trend. That's officially a trend. And it was going to catch up with you, and it did last night.
Well, you've played 13 league games, and you are 13th in the league in shooting at 43%. So no one's going to say, hey, guess what? This is a really good shooting team that had an off night. They're not. They played 13 league games, and they shoot 43% from the field. And from three-point range, they are dead last in league games. They're shooting 30% from three, which is 2 full percentage points below 15th ranked TCU, who shoot it at 32%.
And it's only at one point in the first half, you were like less than 10% from three-point range and 12% from two-point range or something? I mean,
yeah. And you're not guarding the three well in league play. You're 13th. The numbers don't lie. And yet, with all of that said, it's a shot-making game. And West Virginia had shots galore. I mean,
shots around the rim too.
You lose by 5. You are 5 of 23 from 3, and we say this all the time. What if you were 8 of 23? Not, hey, you needed to make 10. What if you made 3 more? How many rattled in, rattled out, didn't go?
Yeah.
You win the game.
Just wait. You think you're bummed out now?
I do not need to be bummed out more.
Just wait. Yeah, you need another 3 or 2. The free throw line again.
Yes.
I talk about this all the time. UCF, it worked. You were able to get Honor and Trey to the line a lot last night. You just weren't able to, and you got guys at the line that just weren't making their free throws, and that hurts. 7 of 15, you're below 50% from the line. If that's 10 of 15, and you add another 3 in there, I mean, that's the frustrating part of those games when it comes down to a possession or two. You can go back and find these things, and we'll get into some of these in the numbers. But if you just took this box score post game minus the score, this was a win. This is exactly what you wanted the thing to look. And I know what you guys are saying about scoring, but that shouldn't surprise you in February. This team is prone to droughts, and I think some of that becomes fatigue. You're grinding so hard defensively, and you're guarding for so much of the clock. You're going to miss some shots. That happens. There's going to be stretches. But you know what else you do? You also put those other teams in jail and give them long stretches where they don't score. It's what got you back in the game. If you had told me when we previewed this game that the final was 61-56, I'd say congratulations, West Virginia. Let's move on to the next one. I would have said that's a win all day long.
100%.
That's a Utah team that hasn't won much. When they do, they average 89 points a game. You held them 30 points below their average when they win games and didn't win. You outshot them. You got more field goals. You won the points off turnovers. You can go down the list. For as bad as that felt like it was, statistically, it ended up right where you want games to be, and yet you take the loss. I think, to me, that's why that one's such a disappointing loss.
Agreed. 3 Guys Before the Game is brought to us by Tudor's Biscuit World. Sunrise specials at participating stores last until the 28th of this month. Keep in mind, as we said before, February is a short month, but it gets a lot done. And that Tudor's Sunrise special, $5, $5, 5 singles, 20 quarters. You get a choice of a Ron or a Mary B biscuit, a 12-ounce coffee, 20-ounce iced tea, which one of those you want, and an order of hash browns. So check it out at participating Tudor's stores. It's the $5 Sunrise Special. 3 Guys also brought to us by the good folks at Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. And it isn't too early to get that boat ready. if you've got service you need to do, because before long, the buds be coming off those trees. That sun starts getting a little bit hotter. You pump a little bit more air into your helmet. You wrap that tape up just a little bit more around your life preserver, and you'll be ready to go. There's a lot more on that coming up. Those are Rich Rodriguez's famous lines as he gets his team ready to play. Last night, you talk about a bromance. Holy schmolies. Unbelievable. Rich was there at the game last night. I'll tell you about it later. But anyway, Lou Wendell Marine Sales, the only Honda Marine premium dealership in the state of West Virginia. They've got their new Honda McLaren racing motor. Check it out. They're in St. Albans, or you just go to the website, LouWendellMarineSales.com. They're award-winning. Lou Wendell Marine Sales. If you're a boater, they are the folks. Hop.
Yes, sir.
I know it was a short night, but are you ready?
Absolutely.
You are ready.
Yes.
Let's do Hoppy's obvious observations.
He's got thoughts that sound brand new, but they're things we already knew. He's got his lip balm ready, heaven knows. Let's make it quick before his bladder blows. It's Hoppy's obvious observations.
And these obvious observations are even more obvious because Hoppy did attend the game. He was a guest of WVU President Michael T. Benson, and he sat right in the first row as he's demanded on previous shows when he came to us and said, why can't I sit in the front row? So the President Benson says, all right, come on. You can sit in the front row and behave. Got him. I saw President Benson, kind of interesting. President Benson bought him a cotton candy and a big lollipop, sat him down in his chair and said, you stay here until the horn sounds. All right, what's your obvious observations?
Thank you, President Benson, for the seat. I had a very good view of the observations last night. First of all, worst loss of the season. Worst loss of the season. You might say, well, you've lost other games. And worst loss for a couple of reasons. One is you're coming off that great road win, and what did Coach say after the game? Like, don't let this now. Don't let the next one get away, and that's exactly what West Virginia did. And you let the team that had lost 15 consecutive road games come in and beat you, and as you said, Tony, get an idea that they could beat you in that first half. You were keeping hope alive for the NCAA tournament. Now you really got to take that off the table. We just start to talk about that a little bit. Again, a terrible, terrible start. You knew at some point that was going to catch up to you. Got down, 18-3, and you were down also 15 in the second half.
Right.
Shooting was just awful in the first half, just awful. I mean, just President Benson, who played basketball, kept looking up and go, we're shooting, 11%, 12% from three-point range? And then you battled back in the second half, but you didn't make enough shots. Shot less than 50% from the free throw line. Not a bad crowd, considering it was a late weeknight game, but the crowd got taken out of it because for most of the game, in fact, at one point when you were down 18-3, I think West Virginia finally made a bucket, and the crowd kind of gave that sarcastic applause, like, oh, you finally made a basket. They got into it there in the second half when you got it down to 2. And I think that if Honor had made that three-point shot when you were down by 2, the place would have erupted. Maybe the outcome would have been different, but you didn't. So it was just for 6 or 7 reasons, it was the worst loss of the season. And I know Brad will have a lot more numbers on that. Now you got to go on this 2-game road trip. So that's you put yourself in a tough spot. I have some football stuff.
Okay, so here's some more on that. So Rich Rodriguez was at the game. They introduced Rich. They play Stroke It. Is that what they did, Brad? They played Stroke It, right? Got the crowd up there, and they put Rich in there because that's what West Virginia uses on kickoff. So Rich was there. And then later, Rich was making his way down. I don't know if he was leaving, but all of a sudden I turn around. And on this first, I look, and like Rich settles in next to Hoppy, but he didn't sit in the seat next to Hoppy. He sat on the metal, the base where the seats go in. And that's where he was sitting, and he was there at Hoppy, like, tight. And so I look back, okay, they're going to have a little, hey, how you doing? Good, how you doing? Hey, best luck, spring ball. I mean, that conversation was basically a filibuster. It went on, and I'm looking at him, and I'm going like, what in the heck is Hoppy? But I said, getting a lot of good obvious observation stuff there. So what the ball coach, number one, why was he there?
I don't know. He and
he didn't
Raquel
say.
were there.
I didn't, yeah, I know.
He and his
But
daughter.
I didn't know if he had said, "Hey, we had this or we had that" or anything like
I
that.
know he just walked by and we had a very nice conversation.
Finally had a chance to breathe. Stop getting players, right? I mean, he's finally got like a roster.
Yeah, really.
Okay,
really.
so what did he say? We want to know exactly everything.
I gathered some intel. I didn't get a lot from Rich, frankly, that I could use necessarily, but
what does that mean?
well, we just had a nice conversation. It was just talked a little football, and it was no,
like off the record stuff. Like
No,
you got the starting depth chart. I mean, what do you got?
I don't think it was off the record per se, but we just had a nice conversation. He invited me to spring ball.
Oh, good, Nor. Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful. If you do go, you come with us because at one time you had your back to the field. And
I learned
almost
from
got
that.
crushed.
Okay, a couple of things. And don't just attribute this to Rich Rod, just things I've been gathering, and some is just public knowledge, other things I put together. So spring ball starts 7th
March. Yeah.
So I mean, it's right there. The current roster includes 104 players. Which
is that what
your
it's
max.
down to now?
Well, that's what if I asked Mike Montoro for the roster.
Yeah.
And I got a roster that said of 104 players. Now, there might be 200 people out there, I don't know. But the roster is 104.
It's going to eventually be that. Yeah, there may be a few extra young men over there right now that will go their way after this is over.
Of the 104 official on the roster, over 95 have contracts.
That's a good number. See, that's not obvious, but it's a good stat.
Over 95 have contracts. Nearly all the players have some revenue-sharing money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? A handful of the contracts are 2-year agreements.
You talk to someone else besides Rich on this stuff. He's not giving you that.
A handful are 2-year agreements, which are becoming more common.
Mm-hmm.
And, Brad, we've talked about this a lot, that people are starting to figure this out now. Here's a guy you want to keep. You do a 2-year deal, et cetera, et cetera. So that's done. The amounts players are getting are not known, but some players, no doubt, a few are in the 6-figure realm. We know that.
What about a 7-figure? No 7s? Anyone making a mill?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably a couple mils in there. The athletic website did some reporting along with the New York Times on some of the figures. And this is, you kind of got to take out like the Ohio States or the Alabamas, whatever. And let's talk about everybody else, okay, in Power 4. The West Virginias, the Virginia Techs, the Pitts, those schools. The range, and this is what they came up with, because some of the figures you just have to try to work through agents. The range for quarterbacks, $1 to $4 million.
Yeah.
With higher pay for top players. Like Drew Mestamaker got a 2-year deal at Oklahoma State for $7.5.
Came from North Texas, and his coach went from North Texas to Oklahoma State. So his coach brought him with, how much did he get?
7.5 over 2.
Smojies, whoa.
Offensive tackle range, $600,000 to $1.3.
Yeah.
Edge rusher, $500K to $2 million. Interior defensive lineman, $500K to $1.5. Running back, $400K to $900. Wide receiver, $900K to $1 million.
That's high.
That's high.
Tight end, $300K to $900K. Cornerbacks, $250 to $1 million. Safeties, $250 to $900. Linebackers, $200 to $750. Interior offensive linemen, $200 to $700. Those are some ranges. Now, there's exceptions, but those are ranges of schools like West Virginia, okay?
Yeah.
On the roster, there's 6 quarterbacks.
Some big ranges.
Large ranges.
2 to 9. Narrowed it down there, thanks. Some heavy research on that one.
Go ahead.
Not you, Hoppy. That wasn't an attack on you.
I think it was.
That's
That
what the
wasn't you. You're just
athletic
reporting.
listing.
Yeah, it's athletic. You're just reporting.
There's 6 quarterbacks on the roster. We knew that, right? Scotty Fox, Michael Hawkins, Max Brown, Byron. Is it Hewley? John Johnson III, Max Anderson. There are 19 offensive linemen on the roster. Okay. Including Nick Cray, a favorite of the program. And, of course, Kevin Brown. Here's something interesting that I found that I think, again, is obvious, is that here's the scenario. You're negotiating with a player that you want. And the player says, my number is $500,000. and you say, we can't do 500. He goes, well, School X is offering me 500. And you go, well, good luck.
Right.
And then, Brad, he goes to School X, and School X says, we told you 500, but we got to have this quarterback, and now we got to pay the quarterback 2, so we can't afford to pay you 5. And now the player goes back to said school and says, that 3 looks better now. I think I can do that 3. So that
Except
kind of
sometimes then the 3's off the table.
Yes, it may be. It may be. So that's the kind of thing. A school may tell you, and I'm not talking about in school in particular, but a school may tell you, we can pay you 5. And then when it comes time to do the deal, they say, well, we actually had to spend the money someplace else.
Yeah. It's evolving to become more sophisticated. There was a lot of that early on. I think schools are going to start talking. I mean, West Virginia knows, Ren knows, and Ross knows, and Rich knows what other schools are paying. They got a pretty good idea. Everyone's talking amongst each other.
Sure.
And that's going to, need to have that in order to get the BS out there with these kids walking around saying, I'm getting 1.5. And you're like,
okay, all right.
It's interesting. We'll talk more about this when you get out of spring with just that one portal window open. There's not another one opening for players, Hoppy, but I don't know if you guys saw this, but the coaching portal is open. That stays open. West Virginia got hit by the coaching portal.
Yeah, we did.
Because apparently you can leave at any point there you can't when you're a player, but coaches can leave at any point, even if you've only been here. Larry Knight was here, 12 hours? Is that what it was?
13 or 14.
13 or 14 hours, a couple days. So, coaching portal continues to be open.
Good thing you didn't bring that one up with Rich. He got smoke coming out of his head on that one. Got to go hire a coach now.
Yeah. After a month.
After a month.
Seriousness, like a month.
Well, the conversation was going well, and
don't bring.
I didn't want to bring it up.
Yeah.
Stadium upgrade. Board of Governors meets tomorrow. They have on the agenda what's called a consent item, and this is part of the board's ongoing approval process for the major renovations.
Right.
This will be an authorization to hire the main contractor for the project. And there's already been approval for the architect, and this is the reconstruction of the west side, the whole press box and everything. So you're going to have suite boxes and club level and founders level and all this premium seating. And they're still estimating, I talked to the athletics director last night, they're still thinking that it would be about a $150 million project, but don't know yet exactly till the bids come in. And this thing's going to move. I mean, construction is going to begin after the last home football game.
Of 26.
And then they expect to be ready. Then there'll be a season that you won't have. There'll be a makeshift.
They'll go to the other side of the stadium.
And then it'll be ready for the 28 football season.
That'll be awesome.
Which will be here before you know it.
Yeah.
Finally, there's a controversy, Brad, in the world of big candy.
What happened?
You guys haven't seen this?
Anything to do with Reese cups?
Yes.
I thought I saw something, yeah.
The grandson of the inventor of Reese's Peanut Butter Cup has lashed out at Hershey, accusing the candy company of hurting Reese's brand by shifting to cheaper ingredients. Hershey acknowledges some recipe changes, but said it was trying to meet customer demand for innovation. High cocoa prices have led Hershey and other manufacturers to experiment with using less chocolate in recent years.
Throw the ratio off.
What was that
saying for years?
What was that stupid line? What was the first line they said? I've never heard anyone say, "Boy, I hope they innovate this Reese cup."
No, there's a lot of it. There's a lot.
They're talking about the mixing of flavors. I think the innovation in the big candy world would be the mixing and the mashing of the flavors.
And
But you better not screw up your core product.
Brad Reese, grandson of the founder of Reese's. Brad Reese, age 70, said in a letter to Hershey's.
He just fired off a letter.
About multiple Reese's products. Said the company replaced milk chocolate with compound coatings and peanut butter with peanut cream.
The peanut cream always screws the thing up.
Don't screw it up.
And this is what he said. He was incredulous, Brad. How does the Hershey Company continue to position Reese's as its flagship brand, a symbol of trust, quality, and leadership, while quietly replacing the very ingredients that built Reese's trust in the first place?
It's good work, Hop.
Reese's did Hershey put out a response and said, well, we've made some changes, but still the integrity of the product remains the same. However, there is quite a dust up in big candy.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, you remember the time Coke tried to change its recipe?
New Coke.
They ran that back down, and that was a matter of like weeks.
So
sorry, didn't mean it. Sorry, we'll go back.
He brought particular attention to a Reese's product. I forget what it was. It wasn't the traditional
They're
cup.
jamming all kinds of crap in there now, jellies and all this kind of stupid stuff.
So anyway, Big candy controversy.
Tough time to have it, too, because this is the original, the shapes. I'm partial to the shapes because the peanut butter ratio, speaking of the ratios, are much better. This was the original shape season. As you get into the Easter holiday, the Easter eggs.
Well, the egg.
I mean, you might have thought it was a Santa's boot or stocking or something, but it's actually an egg, Reese egg for.
Yeah,
they make the hearts for Valentine's Day.
Now they do. Yeah, and they do Christmas trees around Christmas, but they didn't used to. Shapes used to come out once a year, and it was this time of year.
Yeah. Coming up in a second, Spreads on Stats. 3 guys brought to us by Jan Dills, attorneys at law. They won't take no for an answer. Veterans benefits. If you need help in that world, if you or someone that you know needs help when it comes to filing for veterans benefits, disability, then by all means contact Jan Dills, attorneys at law. Based in West Virginia, the firm began in West Virginia, but they've got clients in all 50 of our states. They handle those issues. They handle Social Security claims as well, so veterans benefits, Social Security claims, and personal injury as well. If you need help, doesn't cost you a cent, doesn't even cost you a Reese cup. Just contact Jan Dills, attorneys at law. Have that conversation, and they will do their very best to make sure that they help you. 3 guys also brought to us by Comax Business Systems. Is it time for a new phone system in your place of work? They've got every single type imaginable. Smallish, medium-ish, big-ish. They got it. Have you been waiting for the right time for that business phone system? Is the one that you're working with right now not getting it done? Software changes, things change. Contact the folks at Comax. Comax Business Systems. Visit them at comaxwv.com. That's comaxwv.com. Brad has already told us we're not going to like the numbers, but we got to do it. We got to do it. Sometimes the truth hurts.
Yep. So I checked the numbers. We'll just go right to the numbers. Here comes a heater.
Let's jump into the analytics portion of the show.
Ready?
Spreads on Stats is our dive into all of the analytics that make games come to life. It's brought to us by the Conley CPA Group, a full-service public accounting firm, but they bring so much value beyond the numbers. Celebrated their 40th anniversary last year. They've been around, based here right in West Virginia. They can outsource your accounting if you'd like to do that. They can also outsource CFO services. It's now the time for you to hook up with the folks from Conley CPA. Give them a call. Tell them what you're looking for, and they will walk with you step by step to help improve your business dealings. All right, man.
I'm looking forward to that. Well, I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm anxious to get the breakdown.
You know what this is like?
What?
This is like when you take an extremely hard test in school and you know you did poorly, and everyone in the class knows they did poorly, and the teacher hands them back out and goes, okay, now we're going to go over the test.
Yeah.
And everyone goes like, oh, frick. All right, what do we got?
Sorry to bum everybody out, but I think you're already bummed out based on the result. I thought there were a couple things that changed this game. And again, guys, you start to go through this, and this is the box score you want if you're West Virginia. This is the post-game box you would have wanted. You could have drawn up a plan to beat Utah. A lot of these things you would have had in place. Here's what got you, I thought. Matchup of the night was the ability to keep Utah out of the paint. They want to get in there. They want to shoot close to the rim and in the paint. West Virginia has been very, very good at keeping teams out of there. Instead, Utah won by getting in there with 34 points in the paint, 56% of their points.
Wow.
But here's what's there's a couple things that are maddening. So they got in there a lot, right? And it actually felt like they had 72 points in the lane. Felt like they were in there a ton. When you start to look at this, and one of the reasons West Virginia's been so good, they're 12th nationally going into that game in opponent 2-point field goal percentage. They just lock teams down shooting the ball. Average about 45% from 2 against West Virginia. You know what Utah averaged?
What?
44% from 2.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually held them below the average that you have that's 12th in the country, and they still found a way to get a win. But that was one. Their ability to get in there inside, I thought you'd be able to shut that off a little bit more. And then here, in a game when it's only a couple possession difference, when it can go either way, this is what gets you. They were +7 at the free throw line, +7 points. Utah was. 23% of their points came from the free throw line.
Wow.
23.
Wow.
They were +5 in second chance points. So right there, that's a 12-point swing in areas that you wouldn't normally expect. The free throw line maybe, but the +7 there for Utah really hurts you. West Virginia had been, coming into the game, second in the Big 12 in defensive rebounding. They just hadn't allowed a lot of teams to get offensive rebounds. The Utes did. They had their second best offensive rebounding percentage. That's the second best offensive rebounding percentage against West Virginia in any Big 12 game this season since Iowa State. That was the first Big 12 game of the season. That's how good and consistent you'd been. Now, it didn't kill you in second chance points. They only had those 9 second chance points, but it was enough of a margin that it tipped them over the top, and there were some big ones. Okonkwo had a couple late that really hurt you. So as much as the numbers, the volume of them hurt you, I thought it was the timing in which some of those came that were really disappointing. So to me, that was it. Utah won that battle of they got the shots from the areas in which they wanted them. You were -7 at the free throw line. You were -5 in second chance points. Ultimately, that cost you the game. Now let's niche it down a little bit further. We said going into this game that Utah gives up open shots. They had really struggled defensively. I felt like this was a game where you were going to get the looks you wanted. Then you speculated, or I speculated, all right, well, you're due. You're at home here. You're due to have a game where you break out and make some of those shots. Well, half of that came to fruition. West Virginia had, and this was a small number, but only 9 catch and shoot jumpers for the game. So they had 9 of them. 8 were unguarded. That produced just 6 points. You were 25% on those shots. And sometimes, guys, you've heard me say regression on this show a bunch. Sometimes it just never comes. This stat was unbelievable to me. It's part of what led me to think West Virginia could have a night. Utah's been giving up these open catch and shoot jumpers. Utah's opponents coming into this game were shooting only 31% from 3 against them on open shots. So as many games as they'd lost, they were really extremely fortunate from distance. Teams just weren't making a lot. West Virginia was less than that, just 25% from 3 on unguarded catch and shoot. So, again, opportunities were there. You just couldn't get them to drop.
Trayson struggled from 3.
West Virginia's only had 5 games all season where they scored fewer than 20 points off jump shots. 2 of those games you had 19, 1 you had 17. But in 2 of your last 3 games against Texas Tech, only 8 points off jump shots, and against Utah, only 12. So we know that's been West Virginia's bread and butter for a lot of that season. Honor's got to score points. If he doesn't, someone else has to. Jasper did at UCF, which carried you through with some of those big jump shots. You just didn't have it against Utah. You got 34 points at the rim, so 60% of your points came at the basket. That's the second most all season. The most came against Texas Tech when you had 36. Tony, we talked at that Texas Tech game. Did you find something for your offense inside the arc that you could pick up and move forward? You did again last night. There were some possessions in the second half where Utah had no answers for you. That's why it goes back to, as poorly as you shot it, you were only a couple threes away from walking out and stealing that game. One of the other things we highlighted, we said you're going to see a ton of pick and roll from Utah. They use it more than any team in the Big 12. It ended up with a massive 35 possessions worth of pick and roll. Guys, you held them to half a point per possession. That's about as good as you can guard the pick and roll. That's exactly where you'd want to be, and that's with the ball handler, where their biggest threat is. On the roll man, when they used the roll man, you held them to 0.1 points per possession, almost shut them out in that category. So the one thing that they do the most, if you look at the actual numbers, they didn't produce against you. You did exactly what you wanted to in that particular niche part of it. West Virginia's been very good, one of the better teams in the league against the pick and roll. It showed again, yet you still didn't walk out with the win. Talked heading into the game about Utah's ability to hit guarded catch and shoot jumpers. They weren't a great jump shooting team, but they made a lot of difficult shots. Coming into the game, the Utes were top 4 nationally in points per shot on guarded catch and shoots. So you knew West Virginia was going to guard them. West Virginia gives up top 5 nationally in fewest unguarded catch and shoots. So you knew Utah was going to have to make those tough shots. Well, the Utes scored 15 points on catch and shoot jumpers. Every single one of those points came on a guarded catch and shoot. Every single one of them. They shot 12 jump shots, 10 were guarded, 2 were unguarded.
Yeah.
I mean, again, defensively, post-game examination, Hop, the defensive, statistically at least, it was right where you wanted to be. Traore had 9 of those 15 points on the catch-and-shoot jumpers. That was the surprise. You held Brown in check. We talked about Terrence Brown coming in, 20-point-a-game scorer. Again, you made him have a difficult night shooting the ball, 6 of 15. If you had told me those were his numbers, I'd take that. Traore stepped up and made some big shots when he had to. So some of those numbers, again, you walk out a game like that and you're disappointed, Hop. There, I agree. It's the toughest loss you've taken on the season, especially because it's at home. The numbers played out by the time you got to the end of the game. It normalized to right where you wanted to, but that early deficit was too much to overcome. And listen, I think you got to give a little credit to Utah there. Each time West Virginia made a run, Utah found a way to answer them, and you just couldn't get yourself over the hump, and it turns into a really rough loss.
Brad, those are really good numbers. I mean, really good observations. But it was early on where they were shooting 100%, and you're shooting 10% in the first 10 minutes, and then it was normalized the rest of the way, right? The numbers bear out the rest of the game, but that first 10, 12 minutes put you in such a deficit that the normalization wasn't enough.
Give you one other one, and I had this, Tony, as one of my keys to the game when we talked before the game. Utah doesn't force a lot of turnovers. And so I thought if you're West Virginia in games where you've had few turnovers, it generally turns into a win because it allows you to do the things you did for most of this game except the beginning. You don't turn it over. Generally, you've been pretty efficient on offense with fewer possessions, allows you to set up your defense. You generally win the game. 8 turnovers on the game. You were below your season average at home. In fact, you went 14 minutes and 15 seconds of the first half without a turnover. Then you went another, don't check me on this, but 7 or 8 or 9 into the second half without another turnover. I mean, you went a giant stretch of this game without turning it over. In fact, it's the fewest in a Big 12 game all season. It ties for the fewest turnovers all season. And you didn't walk out with the win. Again, you would have told me that before the game, that you had 8 turnovers. Would have said, great, you're in good shape.
Did Jasper lose a tooth?
Yeah,
yes.
Piece of it.
A portion of it. No foul.
During that stretch, that was a really physical stretch in that game.
Yeah. Yeah, the officiating crew had a handful last night. Had 6 trips to the table for replays. We haven't had 6 trips in the last month of games.
I got to watch that up close and personal. That was interesting.
Yeah. Regardless, that's not what cost you the game. It certainly didn't help you either. 5 out of 23 from 3 is the fatal blow for West Virginia, and as a result of that, we move ahead. That's all you can do. You try to shake it off, and it's not going to be easy because Brad indicated that TCU is hard to figure out, even though we're down to the final 5-6 games. I mean, some nights they look really, really good, and some nights they look not good, and some nights they're in the middle, and they're a roller coaster of the thing. I don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, don't know what you're going to get there. And again, it always gets tough on the road. You want to do a quick TCU?
I do.
Look real quick. So 16-10 are the Frogs on the season. They've won 3 of their last 4, including one of those over a top 5 Iowa State team. Here's the up and down nature of this team. It's wild, Hoppy. They played Michigan, number 1 Michigan, to a 4-point game early in the season. They beat Florida earlier in the season. They beat Iowa State, as I just mentioned. Those 2 wins are top 7 teams in the Ken Palm rankings right now, both legitimate national title contenders, and TCU beat both of them. On the other hand, they lost to 196th ranked New Orleans in the first game of the season. They also lost to Utah, comes in 113 in the Ken Palm rankings, and they lost to Colorado, another team that has struggled in the Big 12. So some really high-profile wins, some really baffling losses for the Frogs. They're a top 30 defensive team by numbers on the season. And you know how sometimes you have a really good non-conference and your numbers just kind of stick and hold? It's kind of what's happened because in Big 12 play, those numbers aren't as good, guys. They're 12th in the league in 2-point field goal defense. They're 12th in the league in 3-point field goal percentage defense. They do turn you over. They're 84th percentile in the frequency of live ball turnovers that they create. At times, though, they struggle to convert it. So they don't convert it at that same percentile, but they do force a lot of turnovers, so that will be another key to this game. They average 16 points off turnovers per game. They struggle offensively, so if you can limit turnovers and the numbers bear themselves out, you should be in a game that matches the style that you want to play. Here's a matchup to watch going into this one. It'll be the free throw line. They're number 1 in Big 12 play in free throw attempt rate. Welcome to a Jamie Dixon team. That's not a surprise. So they're number 1 in that category in getting to the free throw line. West Virginia is a defense that's number 1 in opponent free throw attempt rate. So West Virginia's been really good at guarding without fouling. So who wins that battle? Can TCU get to the line more? They're on their home floor, so you would think that's likely. But West Virginia, if they can guard without fouling, that will be a big key. They've struggled from the 3 in Big 12 play, 15th in three-point percentage. So 2 early keys before you dive too deep in this. If you limit turnovers and keep them off the line, you might have a chance to walk in and get out of there with a win.
Not going to give names, but surprisingly good officiating crew on Saturday's game coming up. Normally on Saturdays, it is a difficult thing to do because everyone's playing and there just aren't a ton around. But we got a couple that are big boys,
okay.
which is always good. You got adult supervision. Whenever you have adult supervision on the floor, when it comes to that, you feel better about it.
Well, that's important because I think that's going to be a massive key in this game. Who wins at the free throw line?
Yeah. 3 Guys Before the Game is brought to us by our friends at Go-Mart. Coming up on the 26th of February this month, you can have a Coke and a smile, 75-cent Coke on February 26th. You go in, bring the app on your phone, spin to win the throwback price on February 26th. On the Go-Mart app. So you spin to win, and you get yourself a 75-cent Coke. Mark it down. You can get other things that day when you're there. I mean, whatever you need.
Sure.
You can take care of whatever.
They have a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, I literally did buy windshield wiper fluid there.
Did you really?
Recently, yes. Trying to stay away from big candy at this point. And
is that what you're giving up for Lent?
No, I don't give up anything.
Tony, admit it. No, I'm not giving up anything.
No, I don't.
No,
I don't give up anything.
Well, you spend your whole life going through periods of giving up things. You're like that. I mean, that's sort of what you do. You walk in one day and go, "That's it. I'm only eating cabbage."
I do a lot. Yeah, I do a lot. Yeah, that's a solid point on your part. Yeah, that's a solid point on your part. Are you all ready to do textual healing?
Yes, we could use it.
As you can. Well, not really. Yeah. We're going to get into it. Textual healing is on deck and coming your way. Yeah. All right, textual healing. 304-404-4083. 304-404-4083. It's brought to us by WVU Medicine. See, we heal, and so does WVU Medicine. If you're struggling with weight and it can feel overwhelming, you don't have to do it alone. WVU's Medicine, Medical and Surgical Weight Loss Center, is there to help you. Surgical options, compassionate support to help you get the weight loss, to help you have better health. They'll guide you every step of the way. Personal, long-term planning to success. You can reserve your spot for free. No obligation necessary. You can learn about it. Visit the folks, wvumedicine.org/bariatrics. And that's funny, but that's the word that took me out of the 8th grade spelling bee. Bariatrics. Let me spell it for you. No, I just made that up. BARIATRICS. Bariatrics. That'd be a good word for a spelling bee.
It would be.
That would be a good word, wouldn't it?
Terrible speller.
Or you can just call them. 304-293-1728. WVU Medicine, Medical and Surgical Weight Loss Center. Check it out. wvumedicine.org/bariatrics.
Did you see who was on the West Virginia bench last night? Dr. Pellegrino.
Oh, Ron. Well, he was. I mean, he wasn't eligible to play. I mean, you can't say he was on the bench. He was sitting near the bench.
Well, they have those special seats.
Yeah, but you're not on. I mean, it's 4. There's a space.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, there's a 4, and then there's a space.
I thought he was on the bench.
Well, it looks like
I thought he was calling plays.
No, Ron was. Dr. Pellegrino was not calling plays. I mean, don't put it on him. I mean, he'll start to get some hate mail. Yeah. First off, let's start with a sad note. We're bummed out here about the game and all that, but let's
perspective.
Let's get some real perspective here. Want to send condolences out to the family of Wes and Wendy Taylor. We learned earlier this week that from his wife Wendy that Wes has passed away after a valiant battle with cancer. They lived down in South Carolina, and he was, and Wendy as well, she was forced into it, but he loved Three Guys. And as he went through his treatments and the whole situation and the deal, stayed involved with Three Guys. So we just want to issue our condolences. Young guy, Wes Taylor, passes away, and his wife Wendy. So our sincere sympathies with you guys. And she was great when she wrote to us about what it meant to them, and just absolutely hate to see that.
Yeah, that's just sad note, and unfortunately we hear that sometimes from folks, guys, that say that they're going through a tough time, and this gives them, something where they're not thinking about their illness. They're having a little fun with us, and we hope we provided a little bit of relief for them during a difficult time.
All right, Devin in Goshen wrote a text, which is a full page, so I'm not reading it. I'm just going to skim it. It's just too much, right?
Yeah.
Sorry for the long-winded comment. So he thought he could, he tried to do a little thing in the beginning.
Back into it.
Needed some textual healing tonight. Genuinely don't think I've seen a Mountaineer team ever struggle so much at the start of games or out of halftime. 10 minutes in, seemed to settle. They started playing ball. Why is that? Why are they struggling so much to score? This should have been a game that we came out, got right offensively, just couldn't get it done for a whole game. Ross runs great stuff out of timeouts, always have open shots. So why does it feel like there's a disconnect in the half court? Is it truly a case of a lack of talent? It's obvious we need more players. Is it fair to say the team has overachieved for what they really are? If that's the case, then I feel like all the more confirms that Ross is the right guy. All that being said, if you told me at the beginning of the year we're sitting at 16-10 with a chance of finishing with 20 wins, I'd taken those odds. Win out, get a game or two in KC, let the chips fall where they may. Devin in Goshen.
So I got a question for you guys.
Sir.
And particularly Brad, well, both of you, is that, so I'm sitting there, I'm watching Coach Hodge, and he's very animated, as you might expect, in the first 15 minutes of that game. I mean, really animated, at times angry and really getting in the face of players. So what was West Virginia, each of you, what was West Virginia not doing that they should have been doing? And I'm not talking about not making shots. I mean, what were they not doing that they should have been doing? Brad, you start.
Getting loose balls and rebounds.
Okay.
That's what he was mad about early on. And when he talks about a slow start and where it goes from, there's going to be missed shots that come up through the course of the game, and I'll address the offensive part here in a second. The early start was this team, the margin for error in this league, and then this team in particular, is thin. So loose balls that are bouncing that you're not grabbing, and it's, you always hear 50-50 balls, and some of this is coach speak because you're not going to get 100% of those, but he wants those to be 100% West Virginia. This team has to get more than they got, and that early on was what was getting him going, number one. Number two, there were some defensive rotations early that led to some open shots, be it in the paint or in the corner, that weren't quite buttoned up yet. And that just led that overall slow start where it didn't look like the energy was there, showed up in those two areas. Loose balls and then a couple defensive lapses.
Mm-hmm. Tony?
Real quick, he gets angry that West Virginia did not impose its will on the opposition at the start of the game.
Okay.
If you're going to get in a fight, again, this is all figuratively speaking, but if you're going to get in a fight, the fight starts when the ball goes up in the air. And you better punch him in the face the second the ball goes up in the air and just say, this is not your night. And that's what he's talking about,
Mm-hmm.
diving on the floor and taking their will away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're not doing.
Okay.
You have your microphone off,
Your
sir.
mic's off.
Devin is right. I've said this many times on this show. West Virginia is top 10 nationally in points per possession out of a timeout. They so often get good looks and good shots. Offensively, and listen, I know on a night when you shot like you did, that's a tough defense to come in here and say, well, the offense was, you were doing some really good things. You were doing some really good things. And there were some moments that West Virginia was identifying some matchups it wanted and just absolutely taking those, and it was working. You were just missing good shots off those sets. So the results, I realize, look ugly, and it's hard to say, oh, that's good offense, when you are actually running good sets, but the shot doesn't go in. So the result's not there. So quite frankly, it doesn't matter what you've done the other 25 seconds of the shot clock. If you don't make the shot, it's going to end up in an empty possession. But there were times, Jasper backing down on the one side. So what was happening there real quick? Let's do this. There were probably what, Tony, how many times did we mention it? 5 or 6 times, second half especially. You'd come down, you'd clear the side of the floor, and you'd allow Jasper to go to work. And the first couple, you were getting some open looks. Either he takes it straight into the basket and scored, or the ability to kick it out. Utah's counter to that was, we've got a mismatch problem here. They're taking us to the woodshed on this. We've got to get some help. They started running a double at West Virginia. That allowed some openings to move the football. The basketball included chances 3 from the wing. When they doubled, they got caught in a rotation, they made the shot. So the offensive sets are there. It's just when the shots don't fall, I realize it can look like that, like you're not running good offense. But you actually, you were. I thought there were some really good sets last night, and it got you a ton of looks. Not only all of those unguarded catch and shoot jump shots, you mentioned it. How many bunnies at the rim did you miss? You had a missed dunk. You had another missed layup. You had a couple on offensive rebounds. That one possession where you had 3 shots at the basket, 2 of them were layups, and they just didn't go. You take a couple of those, and we're having a different conversation today.
Jeremy, Cooperstown, so upsetting, guys. I drove 8 hours for that. We all knew we couldn't lose this game, but the team wasn't ready. I trust Ross. Man, the slow start deal has become a cancer to this team. Don't know what the answer is, but Brad will tell us what the computers think. Ciao amici. It's been a while since I've written, but I had to tell you my story. You fellas were talking about the Valentine's Day dinner plans. I planned ahead and made the Hoppy Kirchhoff reservation for 4:45. That way, I could see part of the first baseball game, most of the basketball game, and the second half of the baseball game. By the way, Valentine's dinner at Cafe Oliverio, outstanding. Forgot to take a picture. My son Gavin started working as an intern for fine-looking Phil at Daniels. Bradley, next time you're on your shift, say hello to my guy.
I have heard we have added a staff member over there at Daniels.
Really?
Have not met Gavin yet, but heard he's doing a fine job over there in his internship. Fashion merchandising major.
Oh, I met him.
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
I met him. Yeah, he was taking the. He was doing some stuff on football jerseys.
I had one of Phil's jackets on. I was in D.C. this week and had a compliment on my jacket. Somebody said, "Nice jacket."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you just say it's fine looking Phil's?
I said, that's the first time I've gotten a compliment on my clothing in a decade.
Yeah.
Maybe
By the way,
longer.
as he often does, was over there yesterday doing my shift. Tuesday, was there doing my shift. What day is today?
Thursday.
Or Tuesday. Some new West Virginia stuff just
What now?
arrived. New quarter zips, new polos.
Hey, I need some new stuff.
Well, you better head over.
Phil's open. Texter, I was in the doghouse with the fiance due to the WVU game on Saturday night. Tony, I couldn't help but laugh at your Valentine's Day observation regarding the UCF game. My wife was on her way home, called me, West Virginia's down 14, asked if I wanted to get something at our little neighborhood restaurant when she comes home. Thinking the game's over, I said, yeah, whatever, why not? By the time she got home, West Virginia gets an under 10, made her wait till the under TV timeout at 8, followed the game on my phone. We get to the restaurant, hurriedly got out of the car asking if it was okay if we ate at the bar so we could see the game. We got in, I see West Virginia get the comeback, final 4 minutes. I draw a few stares for animated reactions to certain big shots. Luckily, she's used to my West Virginia viewing, so she didn't get mad or feel neglected. The unexpected victory capped off a nice Valentine's Day signed by Faye in Fayetteville, which probably is not his name.
Happy marriage. It's good.
Legend has it, this goes back to our last show, Hoppy's Obvious Observations. Legend has it, Abe Lincoln had over 300 wins and is a member of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. Surely that puts him in the top 5. You know what? I did look that up because he is.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
6'4" and just used to beat people up. You didn't think that, right?
I apologize. I didn't have that.
Yeah. Texter, Joey in Princeton. What's up, guys? Wanted to hope you guys would shout out my family, a lifelong mountaineer, and my Wyatt's Papa, Wyatt's Papa, my wife's dad, passed away last weekend after a hell of a battle with stage 4 cancer. He kicked its ass for almost 3 years. We always talked Mountaineer sports. I'd tell him about you guys as well. Here is a picture of Wyatt and his papa this past deer season when Wyatt killed his second deer. I still text him after every Mountaineer game, even though the replies won't come. It's tradition. I'll never stop. P.S. Just in case the memory is fading, the old age, Wyatt's the brother to the 3 guys' baby with the hair.
Remember that hair? That was elite hair.
Oh, love
That's
you
right.
guys. See y'all soon. Joey B. in prison.
1 degree of
You
separation.
remember that baby's hair?
Yes.
That was awesome.
Yes.
Hoppy, why did that baby have such big hair?
That's hair.
What I'd like to, can you give us an updated picture? Send us an updated picture of the baby's hair now. I'd like to see that. Hoppy's got a nephew.
Oh, my gosh.
I got
That kid's got hair.
Frankie Avalon's hair.
It's incredible.
Unbelievable. Utah mid-game text. These refs are so far out of their league, it's unreal. What are we watching? Elbows over the back everywhere. No repercussions. Unacceptable. Texter, what a difference a game makes. We could just not make enough shots, as noted by Tony and Brad at the end of the game. Foul line and threes. It looked as though most everyone is thinking, hesitating with the outside shots, even when open. That's never good when those 6 inches between your ears get into your game, no matter the sport. It was even evident in the mix-up at the end of the game. We turned it over, thinking, not just letting it happen. Somehow, they need to get a B-low or a second chance more mentality. Just go get it. And if it doesn't work, do it again. Unfortunately, this one stings way too much in defeat at Hope. Always enjoy turning the TV down and listening to you guys, even in a tough loss.
I do think I noted this a couple times during the broadcast. I thought especially early, West Virginia did pass up some really good shots, almost like they were trying to get perfect on that and passed up a few and were a little hesitant.
It was a heartbreaker too, and that you still had a chance at the end, and the ball goes out of
you
bounds.
had a chance. It was there.
Down 2 with your best shooter with the ball. Yeah.
I would have loved to see him come up that floor and pull the trigger on one of those. Next week, the night before the West Virginia BYU game, so the Mountaineers play Saturday, Tuesday this coming week on the road. We come back, we play BYU Saturday, so that would be 26, 27, 28. On the 27th of February, again, you're invited if you're in town and would like to join us for an event we're doing with the United Way of Monongalia and Preston counties. We're going to take them over their goal for the year, which is like $1.2 million. And it's free to come. And Buffalo Wild Wings is donating a large percentage. I think it's 15%. Is that what I read? 15% of what they make that night to the United Way. And we're going to have chicken wing eating contests. We've got over a dozen folks. If you're interested in joining in there, you can still jump in. There's a couple of spots left for that. We're going to have music from two sides, the young men from here in West Virginia, and just a fun time. So if you're looking for something to do the night before the BYU game, Friday at Buffalo Wild Wings at University Town Center, we'd love to have you, and we're just going to jack around.
Those contestants, what you can do, too, if you're a business and want to get some advertising at the event or some promotion, you can sponsor one of the contestants in the contest. So almost like you're sponsoring a horse. They're in a horse race. Hoppy, you can get in and get one of the contestants.
You have to go that. I mean,
well, sure, that's what it is. You got your contestant. You enter your contestant into the race. If you're a business, email info@episode800.com if you want some more info on that.
Hey guys, one other note, and we don't want other teams to have great success, but we hate to see what happened to JT Toppin. That was season-ending knee, lost an torn ACL.
You take Richie Saunders from BYU Saturday and then Toppin the other night. 2 of the top 9 scorers in the conference are out for the year with ACLs. 2 of the best players, not only in the conference, but in the country.
It's 2 all-conference performers right there. 2 first-team all-conference guys.
And again, it's so fragile.
Yeah.
It's so fragile. It will impact, obviously, both of those teams going forward in a big, big way. So all you can do is just play your games. So hopefully the Mountaineers can right themselves and get this thing going again. Still opportunities. Got to get it done. All right, 3 guys before the game. Brought to us live and in color by the good folks. What?
Was this 1964?
You are looking at Technicolor. This is the Rose Bowl Parade by Gomart. Get a Gomart rewards card. Go to gomart.com for details.
No more black and white.
I got to tell you something. You know, this is so in the belt.
Okay.
So Comrex, right, the units that we use to broadcast off of, well, they have a test line.
Yeah.
So you can see if you can hear the return.
Yeah.
And it just says Comrex voice test line. You press it. You know who it is?
Who?
Walter Cronkite reading this book.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like it's like Wilder. And then far from so
man has landed on the moon.
By Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. Well, they sell family fun. Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way.
As West Virginia goes on the road.
Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, efficient for 25 years.
The Apollo astronauts have stepped onto the moon.
And he takes his glasses off.
Yeah.
By Jan Dill's attorneys at law, they won't take no for an answer. by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers.
That's the way it is.
By WVU Medicine, they happen to
Thursday.
be the exclusive healthcare provider for all Mountaineers, including you.
February 19th.
And that is the way it is. We started exactly, Hoppy, at 8 o'clock.
Oh, we're ending at 9.
And right now, we're
Oh,
down to the
hit it.
final seconds.
Hit the
I
nut.
think I'll post this baby up for Hoppy, for Brad, and for our producer, Jake. This has been Three Guys Before the Game. Good day.
That's Paul Harvey.